This is a great occasion here at the West Quincy Fire Station today to dedicate this station. The mayor asked me on different occasions what we could do for the Malvesti family, for all their endeavors that they made to the contribution of this great little community of West Quincy. As everyone who grew up in West Quincy knew, that I didn't grow up in West Quincy, I grew up in Quincy Point, but
we got a lot of points.
When I went to the high school, you know, all the Malvesti's relatives and other people from West Quincy, great people who worked hard, brought their families up, seen some of their children go off to war and not return. And those who did return came back and made it a great community. And the Malvestis were part of that. Nick and the baseball team at Morissette, John, who was on the police department, Tony, Louie, Joe, all made such a contribution to the West Quincy area and to the city and all. A lot of young kids today have these people to thank for the direction that they put them in the baseball. And imagine some of the older fellows here that in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s that were under the baseball team, and Louie and his golfing, and Tony and all the rest of the family that helped over at Morissette. Was a great aspiration to young people to go on in the world and do better. And they helped many people get scholarships. I know, never wanted to take credit for it. They just wanted to help people, and that's the way the Malvesti family was. I can remember coming as a little kid, seeing Joe, who drove the first tiller ladder truck in the city for a number of years, and then he became a lieutenant. Came here to West Quincy, as his other brothers did. And when you worked for Joe, cleanliness was his main thing, and he loved his flowers. And I hope, Joe, you see that Eddie Rossini and the crew here at Engine 5 have kept up the tradition of making this a showplace for West Quincy. In those days, as many as grew up in West Quincy knew that we had the dumps, and they went to the dump without hesitation and did their job up there to quell the fires, that number of fires that were up there, and always came back and did their job and did it well. So with that, I'm going to ask the mayor of the city, Mayor James A. Sheets, to give a commentary.
Thank you, Chief. It's an honor for me to be here this morning, and it's also an emotional time for me here this morning. And as I was driving over here, I thought of some words I read recently, that we live in cities that other people built. And I thought that was so appropriate this morning, because we live in a city where other people, such as the Malvesti family, built. Children of immigrant parents, they came to a new world to find a new way of life, to find a way of life that was better for their children. And I think it's so important for us in the city to stop, to take time out, to recognize families like the Malvestis, who have done so much for so many, so often, and they've asked nothing in return. And I guess my relationship with the Malvesti family began maybe 15 years ago. Joe, when I was out working on my front steps, trying to patch them up with some concrete. And you came walking by, and you said, "Mr. Mayor, you're doing a good job." I really don't know that I was doing a good job. I'm not a mason, but he said, "You did a good job." And we got to talking, and he said, "You know," he said, "I walk every weekend." And he said to me, "You know, you should walk too." I got the message. And so Joe and I began to walk. We walked every Saturday morning and every Sunday morning. And for over 7 years we walked down at Mount Wollaston. Joe would pick me up. And then after we both got a little bit too old for the inclement weather down there, we went over to the South Shore Plaza. And again, every Saturday and Sunday morning, we would go down there, we'd walk, have a cup of coffee at the donut shop in the plaza. Then on occasion, we had let Nick go with us too. But you know, when Nick would go with us, he'd dominate the conversation. You understand that? And you also know what that conversation was. It was always baseball. You know? And through Joe, I got to know all of the Malvestis. My wife had the opportunity to work with at an FPA with one of Joe's sister-in-laws. And I was in the kitchen when I got a call from Joe. And he said, "Oh, Mayor," he said, "something terrible's happened." He said, "I've lost Richard." And Richard had walked with us maybe a couple of months before that time. And it struck me at that point that this nation is great today. It's great today. And we have just come together since September 9th in a way which most of us thought we could never do again. But we've come together. And we've come together because the spirit and the dedication and the commitment of a family like the Malvesti family is common to America. That's why we're strong. And that's why we'll always be strong. But it's so important that we pay tribute to families like this. And I've often asked myself the question of, why I enjoyed my Saturday and Sunday walks with Joe so much. And I have to admit that Joe kind of become a second father to me. Because I left home at 18 and 53, I never went back except to visit. I couldn't take walks with my dad. I wasn't there to help shovel the snow from his sidewalk when he was too old to shovel it. I wasn't there to take him to town or to help fix his car. I never had the opportunity for those kinds of conversations. But let me tell you something. Every Saturday and every Sunday morning, I made up for that. And again, we live in a city that others have built. And the Malvesti family has, is, and will continue to build the character and the integrity into this city that will make it the finest in the state and help make our country stronger through each coming generation. I love you all. I love you, Nick. I love you, Joe. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. All right, now I'd like to call on the Ward Councilor, Michael D'Amico, for a few words.
Thank you, Chief. I'm proud to be here to recognize a family that my family grew up with for generations. The Malvestis lived over on Common Street, and the D'Amicos lived over on Cross Street. So they grew up with my grandfather, grew up with all of my uncles. My Uncle Albert, who played baseball with so many of the Malvestis. Unfortunately, they're no longer with us today, but they always spoke to me when I got involved in public service and how many fine families were here in West Quincy. And perhaps the most fine would be the Malvestis, who really were the building blocks. And you look out and you see so many people that are here that have gone through so much, whether it's a world war or fighting to make this city the great city that it is. In all of the years, public service wasn't just a job, it was a vocation. And there's no better family to bestow the honor on than the Malvesti family. And I'm proud, Mayor, that you brought in the suggestion to the City Council. Proud to support that. I'm proud here to dedicate this very fine fire station. You know, things change very quickly. But no one could believe that in a matter of seconds, not only our lives changed on September 11th, but the entire world. And who was out there, number one, in the cleanup and trying to recover those folks that were affected by such a travesty. But it was the firefighters who were out there also restoring hope and restoring courage. And the Malvestis have brought courage and strength to this city for generations, and I'm proud to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. I'll now ask Dan Raimondi, who is the co-chairman of the Public Safety on the City Council.
Thank you very much, Chief. The Raimondis and the Malvestis have shared this pride heritage in the city of Quincy for many, many generations. And on behalf of my family, I want to extend the best wishes and congratulations on this great day to the entire Malvesti family. As the mayor said, we live in a great city. And as you look across the city of Quincy over the past couple of years, in particular, over the past 10, where Mayor Sheets has been a distinguished and fine mayor, you see the quality of the work that has gone into, in a sense, rebuilding the infrastructure of this city. Our public works improvements, the great landscape changes across our entire school system, the new buildings that are being constructed at Crown Colony, State Street. This really has been a renaissance in buildings. And I suppose one would argue that one of the measurements of a quality city is the type of buildings you have and the roadways that you may have and the infrastructure that you may have. That if everything looks nice and modern and clean, then you have a great city. But others would argue that the true quality, the true integrity, the true character of the city rests within its people. That's what makes the city great. And over the many, many generations that the Malvesti family have blessed this great city, it's their hard work, whether it be on behalf of the police department, the fire department, raising families, connecting with social and other activities across this great city. These are the people that have really made this city great, that populate these magnificent buildings. So on behalf of the people that I represent in another section of the city, I'm proud to be here as an elected official, but more importantly, I'm here to extend my continued friendship and love from my family to yours. Congratulations.
From the state delegation, I'd like to have Senator Morrissey come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Chief. As a fourth generation member of my family in the city, I know how important it is that the character of the city has really been built by families like the Malvesti. And when Danny says from another end of the city, he really means I'm from the other end of the city, is what he means. So from the north end of the city, what are you laughing at, Louis? When they put you out to pasture out in Squantum with me, when the time came, it's where they used to send the Malvestis and others, and we used to joke It was good duty in those days because Mario was always cooking, but we had to remind him that things. He said, "How are things going in Squantum?" I said, "Well, the record is intact. You guys have still not lost a foundation yet out there." So it's over the years that we usually get to see, and we saw the Malvestis usually on the playing field at the other end of the city, and then having worked with them, my father was a teacher for many years in the city, but it's really great to see not only a long-time family in the city, but so many people going into public service. And that's not only true of the generation in front of me, but it's also true of your children and grandchildren. And I think that's really one of the lasting tributes that you've left to us, is that, well, you people have led the way, and your parents, there are other people in the family who have followed in your footsteps. So I just wanted to add my wishes to each and every one of you and your families and say well-deserved honor.
Before we have the dedication of removing the cover from the nice plaque that has been put on the station here, I'd like to recognize the crew here at Engine 5 who have worked diligently in keeping the station all up to par, not only for this occasion, but as you drive by it, it is a centerpiece for all the work that they do in making this a showplace of the city. I also would like to recognize some of the people that work with the Malvestis that are here, retired. Deputy Jackson, Ned Cirillo. I seen Roy Rizzi here. Roy's father and his brother all worked out of the station along with Roy. Eddie Nardone, whose grandfather Pangrace, Lieutenant Pangrace, worked out of this station. This station meant so much to the people in West Quincy. Mr. Roulard, Teddy Roulard worked out of here, and numerous people that lived in the community, that knew where everybody was in their house. So when the alarm went off at night, they knew exactly where to go, and that was a great feeling, I know, to a chief or a deputy that was on duty at night, that he knew that these people knew where everybody was, and that was a great feeling. And the Malvestis always took care of the people in West Quincy. And with that, I'd like to have grandson John Malvesti to Sergeant Malvesti come forward. And Tommy, if you could bring your dad up, and the rest of the Malvestis come up, and we will have the unveiling of the plaque here on the West Quincy station. At that time, we will dedicate the station to the Malvesti brothers. Yeah, right over here. If everyone could just kind of take a look at the plaque over here. And could I have Louis and Tony step up and remove either side and remove the covering. Louis, why don't you read what it says in the plaque?
He's gonna fall. No, I just didn't know if he was gonna trip over.
The reason why I'm speaking is that Joe can't stand, Nick's hospitalized, and John talks about his football exploits all the time. And Louis, Josephine won't let him talk. So that's why I got it. The baby of the family. This fire station is dedicated to the Malvesti brothers, who were born and raised in West Quincy. Through their dedication as public servants, Quincy is a better, Quincy is a better and safer place to live. And it reads, as they come on the job, right, was Nicholas Malvesti, Joe Malvesti, Tony Malvesti, Louis Malvesti, and this guy in the police department. I don't know how he got there, but John Malvesti. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, turn around, John. We went to the grammar school next door, which now is a business office. And every now and then the fire station was on back of this one, facing that way out onto Copeland Street. And I can remember the old firefighters like Freddie Roulard, the Lane brothers, and Reinhalter. So every now and then we used to leave the school grounds and go in the fire station. And we didn't have 3 or 4 feet into the fire station. Get out of here, you kids, and so on. All you guys looking up, looking down there, I'm looking down now. Try and kick me out now.
Mike, take one. Take one of all these. Go down there. In between. I'm sorry. Johnny turned his head. Hurry up, Mike. Take it.
Oh, sure. I guess after occasions such as this, there's thank yous that have to be given, and this is a great honor here that's been bestowed upon my brothers and I. And I would like to thank, and in giving thank you, just those 2 words, just they're not adequate enough. But when you think about it, the way you say thank you and how you express it, they do mean a lot. And I want to give thanks to the people responsible who laid the groundwork and for this coming event, for this event, or rather not coming, it's already here. And I want to thank, with my honor and deepest gratitude, to Mayor James Sheets, who proposed this, and to Councilor Mike D'Amico, who introduced it in the council, and for the city council for in favor, voting it into fact. And I had this in my head now, but I'm having a senior moment right now, so you'll have to forgive me. But this is a lot of thanks that have to be given, and believe me, fellas, and I want to thank Chief Gorman for implementing the order from the council and making sure everything come out all right. And this plaque was actually beautiful, it really is. And I know my brothers and I and my family want to thank you very, very much. And while I'm here, I think I'd like to introduce my family, the immediate family, my 3 sisters and my 5 brothers. Originally there was 10 of us, but we had a sister Sue that died back in '39, and we had a brother Lou, the first Lou, died of the flu epidemic back in I think it was 1917 or so. And unless you want to see a grown man cry, I better do away with the thank yous and invite each and every one of you back to the Common Market for lunch. It's be the guests for the Malvesti brothers. And please come, we would like to have you there. And I guess that's just about all. But oh, incidentally, I just want to introduce my family. That's right. I'll start off with the matriarch of the family. She loves it when I say this. This is my Sister Mary at 93 years old. And 94, I'm sorry. She gets mad if you don't tell the right age. But Rosie, you tell her right age, she gets mad at you. Mary, the reason why she's a little slow today is because about 3 months ago she fell and broke a hip, or else she'd been dancing around here, believe me. And then we have the next in line at 90, my brother Joe. Give him hell, Joe. And then my brother John, 88, John? Yeah. 88. And my brother Nick. So look at a guy that was so active. 84. He's 84. And my sister Ro, who gets upset like when I tell her real age. So she's 39. And my sister Amelia, do you want your real age? 29. That's my brother Lou, who always says my brother Anthony. Yeah. And what are you, Lou? You younger or older than me? What? He's 78. And I'm the baby with 76. Well, now did I invite you back to the common market? I don't know what I'm doing here. What? Oh yeah, I'll go get to that, man. We're gonna sing it? I'm gonna say it. Thank you very much, all of you. I love you all, believe me. My loving friends and my loving relatives. God bless you all. And God bless America.